Hey, what's up YouTube? Donovan the Smartphone Guy here to do a video comparison of three watches that I've used over the past year or so. And this is the Moto 360 Sport, the TicWatch 2 from Mobvoi, and the Amazfit Pace from Xiaomi. So these are all watches that are geared towards, first of all, they're smart watches. They all have GPS built in, and they're all moderately geared towards fitness-minded people. And I would say that the Xiaomi Amazfit Pace is definitely the one that is the most geared towards specifically runners. And we'll talk about that as we get into this review. So as I get into it, I just wanted to mention that I'm taking this from a runner's perspective. So I'm someone who runs. I like to run outdoors, which is why I like the GPS built into each one of these three. So kind of take that with a grain of salt as we go through this review. So let's talk about, first of all, the cost. So this one started out at $250, the Moto 360 Sport. Right now, because it's been out for a while, it is available on Amazon for $125 for the white version. So it has a white band and a white casing. And so you can get that pretty cheap. I actually saw it over Christmas holiday about a month ago for $100. So you can get that one relatively inexpensively. And if you find it used, you can get it even cheaper. So if you're in for a budget, Moto 360 Sport might be the way to go. The TicWatch 2 is these two are both very, very new. The TicWatch 2 has only been out for about 3 months and only for about a month in the United States. So this one's $200, and this is the sporty version. So this is called the charcoal version. They have a version called Onyx, which has a much more high quality build and not necessarily the more sporty version. Has all the same features, but the build quality is better on that one. It has stainless steel and it has a metal band as well. The Amazfit Pace, so this one's $200. The Amazfit Pace is $160 on Amazon right now, and if you go to amazfit.com, it's also $160. Now, I didn't pick up any of these for any of those prices. I got this one for $120 when it first came out. I got this one for $180, but those are the prices right now. So $160, $200, and you can get this one for relatively cheap, but brand new, you can get it for $125 for the white version. So that's the price comparison. Now let's talk about build quality. So I'm going to talk about build quality in terms of my least favorite and my favorite. So my least favorite would be the Amazfit Pace, and not by much, but some nice things, first of all, about the build quality. The band is really nice because it literally could fit any size wrist, it looks like, because it has holes all over the place there in the band. The band is removable, very easily removable. The reason I say that it's my least favorite in terms of build quality is the very plasticky back. Of course, nobody's really going to be looking at that. But on the front, it has that chrome accent, which for me is just a little bit too flashy, and it's kind of a big one. In terms of the size, these two are roughly about the same size. The TicWatch 2, if you have a smaller wrist, is probably the better of the three. So just something to keep in mind. My favorite in terms of build quality is the TicWatch 2. And again, this is the cheapest version, and this one also has removable bands. It has a little bit more high quality ceramic backing there, nice build around the outside, the casing as well. So all in all, these two are both very, very comfortable to wear as well. I will mention that. The Moto 360 Sport is the least comfortable, but again, it's not bad. It's certainly not super uncomfortable by any means. But for me, the band was just a little bit uncomfortable to wear all day. I wear my watches all the time. I don't take them off when I'm using them. So I always have a watch on my wrist, I should say. So the reason I say this one is kind of in the middle is because in terms of build quality, it's very nice. I think it's high quality, but the band is non-removable, which for me is, one reason why I'm not a huge fan of the Moto 360 Sport in terms of build. But all three have a relatively nice build, but there we go. Software, in terms of software, again, I'm going to have to give the loss to, or my least favorite is the Amazfit Pace, and the reason for that is just in terms of smartwear or smartwatch abilities, this one definitely has the least. So you can see somebody's trying to get me to review something, who knows. And over here are my options with that notification, so I can block it. Okay, what did I Oh, I've been sitting around too long is what it says. So I can block it, I can archive it, delete it, or reply. Now that reply is technically not even available. The other three buttons would work, which technically you don't even see buttons for archive and delete, but they do work. The reply doesn't work. And let's go to another one. So that's another email. Okay, so here's a Facebook Messenger, and I'm gonna jump over here. Again, it has like, reply, mute, and block. The reply again will not work. It will reset the watch. Every time you hit reply for any notification, it resets it. Now, with that in mind, it does have a microphone, but as of right now, there's no way to use that microphone. So I'm assuming that's why it gets that reset. So maybe in future software updates that will be available, but at the moment it's not. And so I have to give the least favorite in terms of smartwatch abilities. In terms of software, my least favorite is definitely the Xiaomi Amazfit Pace. My favorite is definitely the TicWatch 2. It's just a very easy watch to use. You can see that it's very fluid. The limitation is that you're limited to the apps that you can see right here. Now it has everything that you would really want in a smartwatch, but it's still limited. Now in terms of notifications, you can see here I got a tweet from Jay Will. Just notification there, and so I can reply to it, retweet, I can like it, I can open it on my phone, I can clear it. Now when I reply to it, if I were to hit that reply, it will open up. I'll show you what it opens up, but I'm going to not reply to it that way. I'm going to show you it opens up. It'll open up something like this where I can voice respond to it, and it works very, very well. That voice response is very accurate in my experience, so that is a huge plus for that one. Now, notice that the Moto 360 Sport is not on, and the reason for that is because this one went through the washer. So this one no longer works. The LCD actually does work. It just is just bad. It doesn't look right, and that's because it went through the washer. So it is IP67 certified, but it is not meant to go through your washer. And actually, all three of these are IP67 certified. So technically, they can go a meter under the water, but you don't want to hold them underwater like the watch was literally underwater during the entire washing cycle, so that's not so good for it. It actually worked for a few days after that, but as soon as I went to charge it, it died. So in terms of software, this is running Android Wear. Android Wear has its limitations. Android Wear 2.0 is hopefully coming out soon, and hopefully that will improve the notifications. But right now, the TicWatch 2, for me, is the king of notifications of these three watches and king of software. Now, again, the apps that you can get on Android Wear far surpass these two. This one you can't put anything on other than what's on there. And same thing with this one. I have seen where people sideload Android Wear apps, but out of the box, you're not going to get that. And I don't know how to do that, sideloading Android Wear. So I'm not going to be able to show you that. So software, again, the win goes to the TicWatch 2, and least favorite, the Amazfit Pace. In terms of activity tracking, that's kind of a mixed bag. If you're a runner, the Amazfit Pace is the best. And the reason I say that is because it just has the best interface for tracking your run. So if I were to go into a run here, it just shows all of the right things, and it works very well in terms of tracking with GPS. Actually, all three of these do work very well in terms of tracking outdoor runs. But the limitation with this one is that it is literally just for runners. So it has running, walking, I can run indoor, and I can trail run, and then I can look at past activities. Those are the activity tracking. It does also monitor sleep and steps, and of course, as well. But this one is definitely designed specifically with runners in mind, whereas these two are a little bit more flexible. Again, the Moto 360 Sport really was designed for runners, but it does also have the ability to track biking. And the TicWatch 2 does have the ability to track things other than running. You can also track an outdoor walk, indoor run, cycling, and then there's freestyle, which obviously if you're doing some other type of activity, you can track there. The limitation with this one is that I'm going to go ahead and go into just an outdoor run so you can see what the limitation is. So we'll have to hit start here. So you can see instantly it starts the heart rate monitoring. But here is the limitation. So it shows you the elapsed time and distance, but in order to get to any other kind of metric, I have to swipe up. So that is probably the least user friendly, I think, of the three. They really need to fix that. That's just my opinion, because as a runner, you know that you want to be able to see, all of these things on your watch. That you can, with this watch, you can easily choose what you want to see on while you're running, and same thing with the Moto 360 Sport. With this one, you have to swipe to get the different metrics, and so that's probably the biggest limitation of the TicWatch 2. Other than that, it works very well for activity tracking, but that is a pretty big limitation in my opinion. So actually, let's go back into that and end that, because well, I'm not actually running. But yeah, so all three of these do have the ability to use GPS, so they're all very accurate. And the TicWatch 2 is going to listen to my voice right now. I'm going to go ahead and there we go. Okay, so in terms of activity tracking, it's a tough one. I'm going to say if you're a runner, the Amazfit Pace and the Moto 360 Sport are probably the two better. But then the TicWatch 2, if they can fix that activity tracking app, it probably would be easily the best overall watch. But that's kind of a limitation of the TicWatch 2. It has it, but it's not the best. Now let's jump into battery life. So battery life, obviously, for smartwatches can be a major issue. And I'm going to start out with the worst battery life, and that is the Moto 360 Sport. Now, you can obviously tweak that. You can do different things in order to conserve battery. If you are using all of the abilities of this watch all the time, it will not get you through a day. But it's very easy for me. I was able to kind of tweak some things and maybe not use all of the tracking abilities that it had. And I could easily squeeze out a couple days, no problem, and still get all of the functions that you would want out of a watch. So you could easily squeeze out a couple days with that one. Same thing with the TicWatch 2. If you're using all of its functionalities, it will easily get you through a day. But you can easily, tweak various things and get 2 days with no problem out of the TicWatch 2. And honestly, if you just want it to use it as a watch, you can make it last 2 weeks. It does have a battery saving mode that will last 2 weeks easily. But in terms of battery life, the king is definitely the Amazfit Pace. So I am using this to its maximum and still able to get 3 days out of it. So this one is definitely one that is marketed as a watch that has very good battery life, and it does. There's no doubt about it. Even when you have Bluetooth turned on and you're using the GPS and all those things, you can still easily get 2 or 3 days minimum. But if you were even trying to do any kind of battery conservation, you could easily get more than that, probably a full week with no problem if you're trying to. I'm not even trying to conserve battery at all, and I'm getting at least 3 days out of this watch. So battery life easily is won by the Amazfit Pace. So with that being said, which one is the best watch for you? Well, that's really kind of up to you. If you need Android Wear, obviously, and you want the fitness tracking, then probably the Moto 360 Sport right now, to me, is the best option if you want Android Wear. If you don't mind not having Android Wear, the TicWatch 2 for me is easily the best. For me, it's the best smartwatch I can find right now. I know there are other ones out there that are significantly more expensive, but for the price point, $200, this thing just does it all, and it does it very well. The limitation would be the activity tracking. It needs to be tweaked, but right now I would say, and their software updates are weekly. You're getting weekly software updates, so I would imagine that that's probably something that they will tweak eventually. And then if you're strictly just a runner and you're looking for just a good activity tracking watch for runners, the Amazfit Pace would be a good option for you. So hopefully, I hope this video has been helpful for you. If you're trying to decide what kind of watch you want, if you're a runner especially, or just somebody who's activity minded, these are 3 great options. For me, the TicWatch 2 pretty easily is my favorite of the 3, but maybe for you, it might be different. It might be something that, there's certain features that you want that one watch has it, the other watch doesn't. Maybe battery life is more important for you, and so this was the way to go. Or runners specifically, this is probably the best one to get. But for the best overall watch, for me, it's the TicWatch 2. Thanks for watching. I hope this has been helpful for you, and I will see you all in the next video. Peace.